Now, you probably think this is one of those stories about a typical town somewhere in America. And you know something? You're right. And this street, you might say, is typical of a million streets all over the country. And my friends, you'd be right again. But this house is different. This house is something special. At least to me it is. And here I come now. Yes, sir, that's me. Luther J. Wheeler. To me, this house is my little nest to which I flutter at the end of a tiring day to be greeted by the comforting chirps of my little flock. You! Hello? I'm home, everybody. Ah, a message. Daddy, I'm staying at Nancy's tonight. Leave my allowance on the table before you go in the morning. Signed, Betty. Well, that accounts for one check and $10. Continues. Eddie and I are going to the movies. Signed, Bruce. Marion! Marion! Now, where would she leave? Where's the one place that every man looks when he goes into a kitchen? Right. Luther, darling, I'm at Aunt Emma's. Supper's in the oven. Well, if Daddy Bird can't get a welcome home, at least he'll be able to tie on the feed bag. Oh! This is the last straw. That supper is really for the birds. Things are gonna change around here. This family's got to learn new things together, by George. Tomorrow night, everybody stays home. And you know something? That resolution was one of the best things that ever happened to us. Although it didn't work out exactly as I kind of expected it would. Well, here we are on a quiet evening at home. Daddy, Betty, Bruce, and Mom. Well, anyway, having a quiet evening home.
I'll get it. I'll get it.
It's probably for me. Hello?
I don't care who it's for. Remember, nobody goes out tonight.
It's for you, Pop.
For me?
Oh, I wonder who...
Call me. Hello?
Hello, Luther? This is Frank. We're all here at the bowling alley waiting for you. It's almost time for the game to start.
Oh.
Don't tell me you forgot bowling night.
No, not at all, Mr. Finch. I'll pop right over.
What's the matter with you, Luther? You flipped?
No, I don't mind at all. I'll see you right away, Mr. Finch. Goodbye. That was, Mr.
Mr. Finch?
Yeah, Mr. Finch. Something went wrong on the Quaylen job. Your friend's account is deaded, 20 grand. I've got to run over and see Mr.
Finch, dear.
Yeah. I'll, see you later.
Betty, your father went out without his bowling ball and shoes. I think you better take him down to him.
So Betty reluctantly takes Daddy's things down to the bowling alley. And she's not very happy about making the trip. Uh-oh. Suddenly, things begin to look much brighter. This is Don Roberts, the bowling instructor and part owner of the Gaylord Recreation Center. And Betty isn't impressed. Why, she's even interested. Let's face it, she's knocked for a loop. But Betty knows you don't win men by throwing yourself at their heads. They're liable to duck. So what's a girl gonna do? Why, go home, of course. Now, who would have thought she'd quit so easily? Answer, she didn't.
Betty? Mother?
She's now trying to convince Mom that everybody should learn to bowl. Why, they could make a secret of it. Surprise Daddy. Besides, the family has to learn to do things together, by George. Mom says she couldn't even lift a bowling ball. But Betty knows all the reasons for taking up bowling. It's fun, it's healthy exercise, it's something the whole family... But Mom still isn't having any.
Betty, no. Now, if you want to bowl, you go right ahead and take lessons. I'll even keep it a secret if you like. But remember, you have to pay for it out of your own allowance.
All right. But I think Daddy was right. This whole family is just drifting apart.
Now, that's enough.
Gaylord Recreation.
Well, this is Betty Wheeler. I wonder if I might speak to the bowling instructor. Oh, it is. Oh. Well, I'm very interested in taking some bowling lessons. I think it's terribly exciting. Well, what about clothes and shoes?
Well, I'd say you should wear comfortable, loose-fitting clothes, a sweater, blouse, maybe a full skirt, and you should have your own bowling shoes. No, ordinary street shoes won't do. You see, bowling shoes have one sliding sole for action and one rubber sole for balance.
When would you... Tomorrow afternoon? 3 o'clock. All right. I'll be there. Bye.
Betty, I've changed my mind. I think I'll go along after all.
Good.
There might be more to this bowling than I ever imagined.
So, next afternoon, we find the girls entering the local pin palace. There he is. And now Mom can see what all the swooning was about. He asked the girls if they know anything about bowling. They don't, but Betty wants to know everything. So Don sits them down and starts right from scratch by telling them a little about the history of the game. Oh, this boy really knows his stuff, too. He explains that bowling has a long history behind it. It probably started somewhere near the dawn of civilization, when a little tyke got interested in rolling stones from one place to another. As he grew older, he found that rolling stones at things could be even more fun, especially if the things happened to be the members of another tribe. And so, bowling was off to a flying start. Wherever high culture flourished, you could find some form of recreation. In its earliest recorded form, bowling was played on clay courts before it evolved to the grass fields of Europe. In the Middle Ages, only the nobility could afford the luxury of keeping the bowling greens in shape. But pretty soon, the young knights were bowling every day. The king, however, thought the youngsters should be working out with a bow and arrow in order to become better warriors. It's a younger generation. So, of course, he banned bowling. But about that time, gunpowder came into general use. The bow and arrow became obsolete, and bowling again became the rage. And by 1623, the Dutch brought the game to America. It became so popular that J. Chambers, Peter Baird, and Peter Jay, for the consideration of a peppercorn, pepper seed that is, leased the vacant parade grounds of the Battery for 11 years. They called it Bowling Green. It is known by that name to this day. It was played on outdoor lawns or greens, which was all very well when the sun was shining. But when the rains came, the customers went. So the game moved indoors to the only places big enough to hold it, the taverns. Well, with one thing and another, bowling came into disrepute. And once again, the law clamped down on the game of 9 pins. But the true bowler wasn't going to let a royal proclamation louse up the game again. The game of 9 pins had been banned, sure. But if they added another pin and arranged them like this, they had a new game called 10 pins. And that game wasn't about to be stopped. It soon had its own national clubs, organizations, publications, and with the passing years gained more and more participants. Today, there are more than 20 million bowlers in the United States alone. Yup, bowling's changed quite a bit since the old days. Today, you don't have to be a caveman to play the game. Even if you do have an arm that looks like a buggy whip. With a ball, a pair of bowling shoes, and some comfortable clothing, you're completely equipped for one of the world's finest sports, bowling. Now that the girls know all about the history of bowling, the instructor is ready to start teaching them the finer and more subtle points of the game. This, girls, is a bowling ball. It's 27 inches in circumference and weighs anywhere from 12 to 16 pounds. Hey, some of these balls have 3 holes in them, while others have only 2. Did somebody goof? No, that's just to allow for the 2 different ways of gripping a ball, with 2 fingers or with 3 fingers. The finger holes are spaced differently on different balls. If a ball fits well, you should have a little space left under the palm of your hand, enough so that you can slide a pencil between your hand and the ball. But be sure to take the pencil out before bowling. Well, here we are at a bowling lane. It looks about a mile long and only a foot wide. But it's really not that bad. Actually, it's only 60 feet from the foul line to the head pin, and it's 3.5 feet wide. At the end of the alley, there are 10 wooden pins. They won't try to dodge or duck out of the way. All you've got to do is roll the ball and knock them down. Sound easy? Well, pick up a ball and let's see. Picking up a ball like this is very unhealthy, especially if a ball is returned while your fingers are in the way. Put your hands on the ball so that they don't get in between your ball and the others, and you've got nothing to worry about, except getting the right ball. No, Betty, nobody can hold a ball straight out just by gripping the holes. You hold the weight of the ball in your left hand. That's right. Now you stand well back from the foul line, between 12 and 15 feet. There are usually markers of some kind to indicate these distances from the foul line, so that when you've found the right distance for your delivery, you can always start from the same place. You stand erect with your shoulders just about parallel with the foul line, holding the ball at waist height or a little higher, with your elbows close to the body. The V of Betty's thumb and forefinger points directly at the pins. Notice that her wrist is straight and that there's a straight line from the joint of her thumb clear back to her elbow. Now, relax. Get comfortable. You know, it may come as a shock to our girl, but she's about to join the Society of Maple Maulers, Pin Pulverizers, and KG Keglers. Just a minute, Betty. There are 3 deliveries, the 3, the 4, and the 5-step. And because the majority use it, we would like to demonstrate the 4-step. First, step forward on your right foot. At the same time, push the ball away from you. Don't lift it up and don't drop it down. Just push it straight out. As the step is completed, let the ball start down and back while the left foot advances. Don't try to keep your right elbow bent. After all, you're not a caveman. Your arm should feel like a pendulum on a grandfather's clock. When the ball is almost all the way back, start the next step, which is with the right foot. Let the ball keep swinging back in a natural arc. The ball tops the arc as the step is completed. Step number 4 is more of a slide than a step. When the left foot lands, it goes into a slide while the right foot lifts for balance. And here's a very important point. Bend your left knee. After all, it's the only way to get the ball down on the floor, unless you drop it. At the same time, bring the ball forward. When the ball is at the bottom of its forward swing, let go of it, still pointing the notch between your thumb and fingers at the pins. Let your arm come up in a smooth, straight, follow-through motion. Don't be in a hurry to straighten up. You look good that way. Strike. All the pins down. Well, that's really all there is to it. Like to take another look? All right. Looks easy. Want to try it? Okay. Roll 'em. Oops. Well, you can't win them all. However, you get 2 chances at every set of the pins. Let's try it again. Well, the second ball did a much better job. Now it's Mom's turn. And there she goes. What form? What grace? What delivery? What a surprise! Well, there's another customer for Gaylord Recreation. Mom has been neatly hooked by the fair game of bowling. And here's another fair game. Don says Betty's approach could be improved if make it to the bowling tournament tomorrow night. Betty would be delighted to come. And so would Mom, who apparently knows all about approaches already. So time passes, as it's in the habit of doing. And here it is tomorrow night. And here I am again. But this time I make out a little better. There's somebody home, but not the girls. Bruce is chef for the evening. Note says they're out shopping. And will be home late. And I'm really burned up. And I'm not alone. Well, there's always beans. Meanwhile, they're having themselves a ball. A bowling ball, of course. And here's our hero giving them the lowdown on what's going on. First of all, what in the world are those big lighted boards? Don tells her that they are projected scoreboards, used primarily for tournament play when the score should be visible to all concerned. Ordinarily, sheets like these are used, but the scoring is the same. Each of those big squares represents a frame. 10 frames make up one game. In each frame, you can bowl 2 balls. Each of the marks in the little square tells what the player has done or failed to do with the pins. If he knocks down all the pins with the first ball, that's a strike. A strike gets an X mark like this. If all the pins, but needs 2 chances to do it, that's a spare. And a diagonal line goes on the score sheet. If there are still pins standing after the second ball, that's an error, of course. And an error gets a straight horizontal line. However, if your first ball leaves a big lonesome space between the pins that are left, that's called a split, a big goose egg. But if you're very skillful or very lucky, you may knock the rest of the pins down anyway and make a spare of it. In that case, you add a line and make this into a converted split. Those are all of the marks used in scoring bowling. Strike, spare, error, split, and converted split. Now, for the scoring itself. You know, there are a lot of people who have bowled for years and still can't add up their own scores. But it's really not that tough. Basically, you just add from frame to frame the number of pins which are knocked down. If you get 8 in the first frame and 9 in the second, your second frame will carry the sum of those 2 numbers. Also, it's a good idea to jot down the number of pins you get with your first ball next to the little square in which you record your strike, spare, error, or split. But if you're a fair bowler, you'll count all the pins at least once in a while. And when you do get a strike, you're in clover, because it counts for 10 plus the number of pins knocked down by the next 2 balls you roll. Suppose on your next frame you get 7 pins on the first ball and 1 more in the second. That would mean 10 plus 7 and 1 the next 2 balls, or 18 for the strike frame, which added to 17 gives you 35. Then the 8 added to the 35 brings you up to date with 43. If you make a spare, you receive 10 plus the number of pins knocked down by your next ball only, which is one reason for writing down your first ball in each frame. For example, if on your next frame you rolled a 6 on your first ball and a 3 on your second, you'd get 10 plus 6 but the spare frame added to 43 gives you 59. Plus 9 in the error frame gives you 68. And so it goes. The jotting down of the first ball provides a complete record of the 2 balls in each frame, leaving nothing to memory. And for that reason, score sheets for tournament play often include another small box for the first ball. Just remember that the 2 big rules of scoring the game are: a strike gives you 10, plus the total of the next 2 balls bowled. A spare gives you 10, plus the number of pins you make on the next ball only. It's that simple. In addition, if you get a strike or a spare in the last frame, you have an extra chance to score. A strike gives you 2 extra balls, and a spare gives you 1 more. Understand? Well, if you're just starting to bowl, don't worry about it. A couple of games where you keep your own scores, and you'll find it's a breeze. Well, that clears up everything about bowling except one thing. How do you knock down the pins? Well, that's easy. You just roll a ball into the space or pocket between the number 1 pin and the number 3 pin. A strike can be rolled with a straight ball, like this, or better still, with a hook ball, like this. If you miss the pocket and you leave pins standing, the rule to remember is move away from the spare. This doesn't mean going to another bowling alley. If your pins are on the left side of the alley, step over to the right side and bowl from there. In other words, take the longest way to the spare. If the pins are on the right side, step over to the left and shoot across the alley parallel to the face of the spare. Do this and you'll pick up your spares every time. Well, almost every time. Say, looks as if it's Don's turn to bowl. Let's see if he practices what he preaches. Well, what do you know? He does. That's a nice collection of marks he's got there. Our boy must have a pretty high average. But not in Mom's league. But then he's getting used to her, and it's well worth it. The lessons continued, and the girls' scores began to go up and up. Finally, they decided they were ready. Well, can you imagine? Here's the whole family at home again. But this time...
Daddy.
Huh?
Daddy.
Go, yes, dear.
There's open bowling tonight at Gaylord's Recreation Center. Why don't we all go down?
Bowling? That's dumb.
Oh, you're just afraid of being beaten, that's all.
Beaten? By whom? Whom by?
By us, that's whom by. By Mom and me. What do you say, Dad? Mom and I against you and the champ over there.
Well, I don't know. You gals may be a little too good for us. But I guess it's all right. Get those subtle winks. A couple of real wise guys. But to Mom and Betty, we looked like this. So here we are at the bowling alley where we find the old master going over the fundamentals of the game. Oh, I was really an encyclopedia of bowling errors. And there's the first effort. That old hook ball takes a while to warm up. This neat bit of air splitting for a ripe 8 and an error. Okay, Mom, your turn. I'll have to admit, that's a nice ball. And it's in the pocket like a silk blanket. Believe me, folks, the slaughter is appalling. Look at that mess. Yeah, but it's almost over. Here we are in the last frame. Well, look who's here. And you know, I'll bet he gives the whole thing away.
That a girl, Betty. That's keeping that old elbow in.
See? Ha-ha. What did I tell you? Just a big blabbermouth. Well, I claimed a foul. What's been going on behind my back? I really went to pieces. But Mom convinced me it was all my own idea. Something the family could do together. And Don had been very helpful. Yep, the whole story was out at last. But wait. What's going on here? Somebody's getting free instructions about that sidearm swing and that bent wrist. So, armed with my new technique, here I go. Well, that finish helped, but the ladies have done it. This time. Bruce and I had been flim-flammed all right, but with a little practice together and Don's help, we figured the next time we might be the winners. Of course, as a matter of fact, in a situation like this, everybody wins. Like I said in the beginning, the whole family's doing something together, something that everyone enjoys. Healthful recreation and pleasant, wholesome surroundings with good friends and fellow sportsmen. That's bowling, American style. And it's right down our alley.